you guys please leave me a comment. Let me know that you guys are watching. So we're going to jump right in because yes, I'm a little bit late on our Facebook Live today because of some technical difficulties, right? But we're here, and that's the most important thing. And so this brings me right into what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, and that is 10 reasons or 10 things that could squash your dreams, right? And so just before we go ahead and get started, I just wanted to point out this book. If you are a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, or you want to become a business owner or an entrepreneur, I highly recommend this book right here. It's Think and Grow Rich. You guys probably already heard of it. It's by Napoleon Hill, and I've read it I don't even know how many times. I think this is my third or my fourth full time through the book, and every single time that I read it, I glean something new and something different from this book. And so what stood out for me today is Napoleon Hill says that there are 30 things, he actually gives us 30, there are 30 things that contribute to failure. So I don't necessarily love that word failure because I don't believe that there is any such thing as failure. And you guys hear that a lot. It's kind of like an old cliche, but really what it is when you're doing something and it doesn't work out, or it doesn't work out in the way you intended or expected, we have a tendency to call that a failure. It's not a failure. It's really just figuring out a way of how not to do something, right? That's one of the reasons why I created Thrive Chiropractic Coaching, is because for 25 years, and I've had coaches my entire life, but there are still times where you do things and you don't end up with your intended result, right? And so that's one of the reasons why I opened Thrive, and I'm helping people open practices, is because when you have a coach or you have a mentor, you have somebody like myself that has been there, that has done it, that's been there before, it eliminates the quantity of quote-unquote failures that you're going to have. So let's see what Napoleon Hill has to say about the 30 things that will squash your dreams, lead to failure. There's 30 of them. We're only going to talk about 10 of them today, and one of them is a huge aha. It's a huge aha, and the first one that I want to talk about is ill health. Well, guys, as chiropractors, our number one message for your community, for our communities, for humanity, is how to restore and regain our health, our youth, our vitality in our body, right? And as healthcare providers, and I've been guilty of this. This is why I'm raising my hand. How many of you guys out there have also been guilty of this at one point or another? As healthcare providers, sometimes we tend to put ourselves on the back burner. Well, the truth is that if your health is not at its very best, if your health is not at its very best, you will not be able to produce at the level that you can produce, that you have the possibility or the potential to produce when you're not at your very best. So what are some of those things that you want to take a look at? Well, number one is obviously, are you walking your walk? Are you getting your spine checked every week or every other week or every month for subluxations and clearing out your nervous system so that your nervous system is firing at its very best? Are you guys doing that? Are you guys, if you guys are CVP doctors especially, are you guys doing your dental and your home care like you're recommending to your patients? Is your family being checked? What are you putting into your body? How are you handling stress, right? All of these things cause us, if we're not doing all of these things, it causes us to perform at a lower level. So number one, let's take a look at where your health is, what your health is doing, and let's see if we can make some even minor tweaks or some minor changes. And I know you guys, I'm coaching you guys. Some of you guys are not sleeping, right? You need to get a full quality night's sleep. It's important, right? All right, so your health is really important. This one is one of my favorite things. Number two, it's not having a well-defined purpose for your life. Oh my goodness. It's not having a well-defined purpose for life. So what do I want to say about this? Well, I believe that every person on the planet has a soul purpose. What does that mean? How do you know what your soul purpose is? Well, the best way that I could describe this to you or help you to hone in and get clarification of what that is there anything that you do that you can do all day long and time just kind of it just passes by? You don't even, the next thing you know, the end of your day is here and you're like, wow, that day was amazing, I'm full of energy, I'm fulfilled. I didn't even realize the day was going by so quickly. Is there anything that you absolutely love to do that you could just do all day long and not even get paid from it, and you would feel the same or more um, fulfillment from that activity? Well, if there is, that's probably a good clue as to what your soul's purpose is on the planet. Now, a couple of things that I want you to remember. The first thing is that your soul purpose is going to change. It's actually going to shift as you change, as you shift, and as you grow. So don't be afraid of that. I used to be so afraid of that. Why? Because for so many years, my soul purpose was as a practicing chiropractor, right? Getting into the office, adjusting 100. I used to love, like, my best days were when I was in the 120s. If I was serving 125 people, 127 people, that was like the most fulfilling, most energetic, most fun thing that I could possibly do. And it's fascinating because today in my life, 25 years into practice, it's still that way. I don't know. Last week we had a hiccup in the office. It's not even too much of a hiccup, but Dr. Laura was feeling under the weather, and so she took all Thursday off, and so I was the only doctor in there on Thursday, which was totally fine. But it's been maybe 10 years since I served patients at this level, but we saw just under 100 people on Thursday, and we did full CBP. We did all of our exams, our new patients, our report of findings, our resigns, all of it. Everything got done. Everything went smooth. Everything was timely. Patients were loving it. Like, you could just see the glow on patients' face, on their faces. And at the end of the day, I felt so inspired, and I felt so fulfilled, and I felt so on fire. So it's not like that feeling necessarily goes away, but my biggest hump when it came to soul purpose was identity. Because for so long, my whole identity was who I am. And so when I started getting that tug on my heart, the pull, that whisper in your ear, that you're supposed to be doing something different, or your purpose is starting to change, man, I was so afraid for that. I was so afraid to go into coaching and leaving the practice of chiropractic, even though I still practice in the mornings. That was like a big um, leap, a big step in faith for me, because it was literally going against who I believed my identity was for the last 20 something years. And so obviously I'm here right now doing this Facebook Live, and I'm coaching you guys. And so I took the leap, I took the step in faith. It's one of the best things that I've ever done. Listening to that inner voice, to your inner self, listening to God's whisper for your life. Sometimes it is scary, and sometimes it's like, you want to take that gulp. But getting clarity on that soul purpose, that could be one of the most important things that you ever do in your entire life. To go to the next level, and I'm not just talking about like going to the next level in volume or money or status or power. All those things that give us significance, and none of that stuff is bad. But I'm talking about going to the next level of fulfillment, of meeting, your soul's desire, not your heart's desire, your soul's desire. Your creator's desire for you. That's when you're really living in the sweet spot. So we got to move on because we have 8 more of these to go. Okay, So insufficient education is going to be my number 3. It was Napoleon's number 4. I'm totally going out of order. But insufficient education, what does that mean? Well, that means that one of the biggest things that can contribute to quote unquote failure or squashing your dreams is very simple. A simple thing of not gaining the skills, the tools, and the knowledge that you need to do what you want to do. So listen, you guys, just because you went through chiropractic school and you opened a practice, you went through chiropractic school, you got your chiropractic degree, you are a doctor now, that does not mean that you're going to be able to come out of chiropractic school and know how to run a business. They're two extremely opposite vocations. Running a business and and being a doctor takes two very different skill sets. Does that make sense? If it does, if any of you guys are watching this, please comment in the comments below and let me know if that makes sense. And so one of the biggest um, tragedies that I feel like I see in chiropractic and chiropractors is that there are chiropractors that are phenomenal doctors. They're phenomenal chiropractors. They are phenomenal assistance to the healing process of the body, but because they don't have the business skill, it goes waste. Their gift goes wasted. And so I urge you, please, if there's anything that you glean from today's Facebook Live here today, if there's anything that you glean from that, is search out mentors and coaches or people that can give you the skill that you need to open a practice. All right, so I'll get off that soapbox for a minute. What number are we on, you guys? I think we're on number 4. So number 4 is lack of self-discipline. This is a big one for me. I love discipline. My good friend, Dr. Stu Bittman, he calls it blisscipline, right? And discipline or blisscipline, whatever your perspective is on it, is amazing. You know, we just came off of a holiday last weekend, Memorial Day weekend, and the whole, it's an extra long weekend, right? Because we have Monday off of practice, and of course that weekend, because it's a holiday, you're typically doing things that you don't typically do. You do things that are outside of your daily rituals, your weekly rituals, your weekend rituals. Why? Because family's coming down, you have parties, you have other obligations that take you away from that. And last week, I remember, man, by the time Sunday rolled around, I was like, oh my God, we still have like one day of holiday here, and I'm ready to get back to my disciplines. So, I was actually craving my daily disciplines. I was actually craving to get back to my daily ritual of practicing in the morning and coaching in the afternoon, right? It was like my body was craving it, right? And so, in the beginning, creating new habits and creating these new rituals and these disciplines, in the beginning, it's tough. In the beginning, your body goes, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. This makes no sense. But when you start to do it over and over and over again, it becomes natural for you. It becomes part of who you are. And it becomes easy. And it eventually becomes something that you crave. All right? And so people who lack discipline are going to have a lot more unintended results or consequences to their actions because they don't have the discipline that they need to follow through at the level that they're looking to go. So a great example, if you're in practice, a great example is this. If you're newer in practice and you're only seeing like 100 office visits a week, right? And your goal is to get to 200 office visits a week. A really great discipline would be to train yourself to act as if you were already adjusting 200 office visits a week. When I was newer in practice, this is old school. I'm going to teach you guys old school right now. But when I was newer in practice and I wanted to get to 500 office visits a week, the first thing my coach said is, are you adjusting your table it's 500 office visits a week, Doc. That's 100. You're open 5 days a week. That's 100 office visits a day. Are you adjusting your table 100 office visits a day? And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm only, adjusting my. I'm only seeing 50 or 60 people a day. And my coach said, well, that's not what I asked you. I said, well, I don't understand the question. He goes, are you adjusting your tables 100 times a day? And after that, it clicked. And really, what he was getting at is was I behaving? Was I doing already what it took to do? Did I have the discipline to do what it took to do at 200 office visits a week instead of 100 office visits a week? Right? Does that make sense, you guys? So discipline is really, really important. Okay, so let's talk about, what number are we on? Oh, great. We're just going to do number 5, I think it is, and that is procrastination. How many of you guys out there, are there any people out there that are procrastinators? Well, typically the root cause of procrastination is actually more organization. It's a lack of organization. Have you ever woken up in the morning and you were excited to get things done and to push the needle forward and to get out and to get moving, get working towards your mission, and you do your daily rituals, and then you kind of look at your book and you're thinking in your mind, and there are so many things to do that you don't even know where to start, and so you just say, the heck with it, I'll do this tomorrow. Have you guys ever experienced had that experience? Well, I have. Actually, I often have that experience, and the thing that I use, the tool that I use actually, is a daily planner. And what I do is I do cluster booking. So you guys know how we do cluster booking for our patients in our office, right? Well, I do cluster booking for my entire day. And so I think Brendan Bouchard calls it like a block schedule. I think that's what the terminology that he uses for it. But cluster booking is when you have a very specific day totally planned out with all of the activities, tasks, events that you need to get through in order to push the needle forward, and you're disciplined to stick to that time schedule. Meaning, like, boundaries are boundaries. There's a certain time from time A to time B that you carve out to do this activity, and no matter what happens, that's the time that you allot for that activity, and you get that activity done. That's what eliminates procrastination, because it allows you to help organize your mind of what's most important, what is most urgent, what needs to get done right away, and then what is something that you can maybe spread out slowly over time. So that daily planner has helped me tremendously eliminate procrastination and be a lot more productive in my own personal life. So hopefully it helps you too. There's a couple of daily planners that I like. One is by Brendan Bouchard, it's a daily planner for with high performance habits. And then the one I'm using right now is by Clever Fox. I love a lot of the Clever Fox. Check them out. No, I don't get any kickbacks or anything from them for promoting any of that stuff. But those are the ones that I've used that have really worked and helped me push the needle forward as well. Okay. All right. So, this one is a really good one. All right. So I think this is number 6, and we see this a lot lately. I feel like we see the desire for something for nothing a lot lately, especially more since COVID. Now, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and I certainly don't want to get political on this, because I love my Facebook Lives and I want to keep it light. But have you guys ever noticed that the mentality out there is that people want something for nothing? Whoever's watching, let me know that you guys are there, and have you guys noticed that? All right, so there's the world doesn't work like that. So the world is an exchange of energy. I even talk about this when I'm teaching you guys how to create your financial plans with patients, right? My number 1 recommendation is to never do free care. Why? Well, because of the law of exchange. What does that mean? That means that there should be some kind of energetic exchange between you and your service and the person that is receiving your service or goods or product, and vice versa. So this was really cool. I had this really cool thing that happened in the office this past week. I had a patient who came in and he started care, and most people use credit cards. Did you guys notice that like 99% of the planet today uses Venmo, credit cards, some kind of electronic exchange, right? Have you guys noticed that? So this was really fascinating because I did the financial care plan with this patient. Really like this guy, really dig him, man. He is a really old soul, very smart. And I asked him, which credit card he would like to put his payment on. And he said, no, I'm going to pay you tomorrow and I'm going to pay you in cash. And I looked at him with disbelief almost. And I said to him, I scratched my head like this a little bit. I was like, you mean green cash? And he was like, yes, green cash. I don't use credit cards. And he has a very fascinating reason why he does not use credit cards. It's not because he got into credit card trouble before, anything like that. I'm not going to get into it with you. It's actually, maybe we'll do a whole nother Facebook Live about it. But he only uses green cash. And so he did come in the very next day and he brought in his one-time payment in green cash, which I thought was really fascinating because nobody ever does that anymore. And so I had an opportunity in my church for a donation. There was a mission in my church, a ministry in my church that I feel really strongly about. And I used that green cash to donate thousands of dollars to this ministry. And I felt really good about that. Like, I felt like I was being called to do that. And so today, when I saw him, one of the first things that I wanted to let him know is I wanted to let him know where that exchange went, because that cash, that green exchange that he gave me for services to be rendered to him, actually went to a ministry in my church to help young women who are pregnant, and this ministry helps them and supports them in not having abortions and taking care of their children. And that's such a huge thing for me. And so I was so excited to share that with him, that's where his money, his green cash, his exchange of energy went. And so it was really touching for him as well. He welled up and I welled up, and it was a really great exchange. But anyway, I don't even know how I got off on that topic, but I remember. So, expecting something for nothing, it's not reality. It's not good conduct as well. And so that is number 5. I think we're on number 5 or number 6. Alrighty, so here's a good one, you guys. How many of you guys take forever to make a decision? Is there anybody out there that takes forever to make a decision? You hem and you haw, you go back and forth, you write out all the cons, you write out all the pros, right? Well, successful people, super successful people, do not take a long time to make decisions. We make fast, rapid, intelligent decisions, right? And one of the things that successful people never do is they never Monday morning quarterback. What does that mean? They never go back after the fact and say, I should have done it this way, right? No, you chose a path, you made the decision, you had a certain outcome. Now take that outcome and now just go to the next step with it, right? So no Monday morning quarterbacks. All right, you guys, number 7 or number 8. I don't even remember where I'm on. Any of you guys that are watching, put a comment. If you have a comment, write a comment what number we're even on. These are so good. Okay, so being over cautious. Do you guys ever find yourself being over cautious? All right, so here's the thing. I see this a lot with a lot of new doctors, and rightfully so. Or I shouldn't say new doctors. Sometimes this is even true for associates that are thinking about opening their own practice. But, a lot of chiropractors are afraid to take that first step. Now, have you guys ever watched the movie I think it's Raiders of the Lost Ark with Harrison Ford, and he is on that mission to find the Holy Grail, and his father's life depends on it. Have you guys ever seen that? And he gets to the edge of this cave, and there's a whole like cavern, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of feet down. You can't even see the bottom of the cavern, and he has to have faith, and it's the faith that he needs to take the step across this cavern, right? And so he musters up this faith, and he takes his first step, and somehow some force holds him up as he walks across the cavern. Well, that's a little bit what it feels like opening your own practice, isn't it? Right? And so when you are a business owner, one of the key components to success is taking calculated risk. Calculated risk. What does that mean? Well, that means like, you don't want to just take a gamble, right? But you want to use your knowledge. You want to use your skills. You want to, having a coach and having a mentor eliminates risk, right? It's still a risk to open your practice. It's still a risk, the potential to make mistakes. There's still a potential for failure. But when you have people that are in your corner, when you have mentors, when you hire coaches, that risk goes dramatically down. But you don't also want to be so cautious that you're not taking the step to begin with, because if you don't take the step or the risk to begin with, then all those gifts and talents that you were born with, they go hidden, right? Humanity doesn't get to see them, right? They don't get shared with your community, right? So not overly cautious. And we're going to talk about one more right now, and I'm kind of going blind from the light here in this room, but I'm going to talk about one more that I think it nails and hits home for chiropractic. And Napoleon Hill says that one of the causes of failure is the selection of the wrong vocation. Are there any chiropractors out there that have been in chiropractic that maybe you feel like you've made the wrong choice to become a chiropractor? Is there anybody out there that has ever felt like that? I'm sure that there are. In fact, I know that there are, because I talk to you guys all the time. Now, this is what I believe. I believe that chiropractic is a totally unique and distinct and different industry than any other industry on the planet. And chiropractic is not just a vocation. It's not what you do for your living or your career. It really is who you are. We have a philosophy, and our philosophy comes from our personal belief systems. So it's my personal belief that if you are a chiropractor, you didn't stumble into the wrong vocation. You didn't stumble into the wrong field. This wasn't by accident. I believe it was divine. I believe that if you are a chiropractor, that you have been called to be a chiropractor. Now, where most of you are getting fussed up, or some of you are getting fussed up or confusion, is that you're going to school. Yeah, school's super stressful, so it's making you question things because of the level of stress that you have. And then you finally get out of school, you're finally a doctor, and you're finally a doctor, and it's time to open a practice, and you go to open a practice, and you're like, it's so stressful, it's so overwhelming, you have no idea what to do, you don't know how to handle it, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't have been a chiropractor. Maybe I wasn't destined to become a chiropractor. And I will tell you that I don't believe that. I believe that if you are in this profession, it's because there was something. There was something that was sparked inside of your belief system that nudged you, that pushed you, that spoke to you, that called to you to go to chiropractic school and become a chiropractor. And so, what's my point? My point is that if you're struggling in practice, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and quit chiropractic, right? I hope you guys are listening to me, because I feel like we lose so many good chiropractors this way. It's very simple. If you're struggling in practice, figure out how to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, or you can't figure it out, get with somebody who can. There are tens of thousands of chiropractors on this planet that are extremely successful. And I would bet that there would be at least one of those chiropractors that are extremely successful in practice wanting to help you out. So hire a coach. Guys, it's the best investment that you can make into yourself, is to hire a coach, hire somebody that has done, that is doing what you want to do, and get your gift out to the world. Deliver your gift to the world, because quitting chiropractic, there's no quitting in chiropractic. Just like there's no crying in baseball, there's no quitting in chiropractic. That is not the answer. That is not the solution. You are meant to be a chiropractor. You chose the right vocation, or I should say that vocation chose you. Now just learn how to do the business part of it, and I promise you, you will have a life of prosperity. You will have a life of abundance. You will have a life of contribution. Man, I was out the other day, and this was so much fun. And this is like, we all like a little bit significance. Let's be honest, right? Do you guys all like a little bit of significance every once in a while? You know, I saw a patient out at a restaurant the other day, and I was with my husband, and the patient comes marching up and introduces himself to my husband, and he's like, Pete, I'm Dr. Nicole's patient, and I just want to let you know that your wife is the best chiropractor on the planet. And that's a true story. That just happened the other day. It was amazing. I felt really good, of course. It gave me a lot of significance, and it made me feel really good. But more importantly, I was excited for how the patient felt, because what I do, who I am as a chiropractor, made such a difference in his life and his wife's life and his family's life, that, man, I just want to do that for as many people as I humanly possibly could. And I know that you guys do too. So don't quit. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't think, did I choose the wrong vocation? Just get the skills that you need to be successful. All right, guys, listen, I went way over my time. I had lots of fun with you guys today. Thanks for showing up, and I will see you next Monday. There is no Wednesday workshop this week, by the way. No Wednesday workshop this week. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be out of town this weekend. I am leaving on Wednesday, so there's no Wednesday workshop this week, but we'll pick up next week with our Monday mindset, and there's no better mindset than this right here. So I encourage you guys, go out and get this book. It is awesome. I love it, and I'll check in with you guys next week.